Aditramadyan Manasorasenam Manchakam Pastutarangabaju Euro Shri Charanarabindam Sri Vigraharadana Nityanana Sringaratam Mandiram Archanadu Yuktasya Bhaktam Shani Yunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasada Svavanatiptan Haribhakta Sangam Kirtaiva Triptin Vachatosadeva Ande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Radhika Madhavayora Para Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namna Pratiksana Swadhana Lolupasya Ande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Sindhya Yayali Vidyuktira Pexaniya Tatratidaksya Adibalavasya Ande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Saksadarite Nasamastra Shastri Uktastatthava Vyata Eva Sadvi Kintu Prabhuya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi Jayam Stuvastasya Yashastri Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Narsimhaya Pralavaladaine Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Nirsimho Parato Nirsimho Yato Yamitato Nirsimha Bahir Nirsimho Irdaye Nirsimho Nirsimharadin Sharanan Prapadye Tavakara Kamalabare Nakam Adhuta Sringham Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadhirtha Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadhirtha Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nirsimhale, Jaya Nirsimhale, Jaya Nirsimhale, Jaya Nirsimhale, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Hare Krishna.
Wow. Wow, qué belleza. What a beautiful. Thank you, Rocky, so much. Really makes my soul wake up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thought today was Saturday, but today's Friday. That's why you're here, because he said he will come every Friday. So we are very lucky to have you. So thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Do you find a variation? If you know, I share. Your English, how's your English, Rocky? ¿Cómo te?
No, no,
No, no
so
entendí.
little.
Okay, so I can put the Bhagavatam with the bilingual format, I think. Let me do, yes, here it is. Let me share myself, Arisha, because I can do bilingual part.
How do you do bilingual?
You need to put at the end
No,
of the
igual me
text.
tengo que,
Te
perdón,
tengo que ir. Okay, perfecto, then
me
no
tengo que
worry.
retirar, no te
Okay,
preocupes.
no problem. Se tiene que ir. Thank you so much for
Entonces,
coming and singing for us. Really sweet. Every Friday I will look forward to your singing. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Haribol. Okay, Varisha, entonces you take it away.
Oh, you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, because you can control how fast you move it.
How
And
do I? Oh,
there's
how
a
do I
button.
share it?
There's a button in the middle that says share. Green.
Oh, got it. Okay, I see. Oh, I see. Share.
There you go.
How do I go to?
Go to first canto. Click on the says first canto. Yes, click there. And then now go to chapter 4.
Okay, but what about that verse that we always?
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Where is that?
I don't remember that one. What is it? I can't remember the number. It's 1, 2 something or 2. I was trying to figure it out. I forgot, and so I can't find it now. But I know the verse. I just don't know the translation.
Oh, we finished this, didn't we?
It was long. That's why we didn't do it, no?
No, we read the whole thing. Remember, this is Appearance of Sri Narada. I read the whole summary already.
Oh, okay. So
I think we're starting on chapter 5, but I didn't know.
yeah, chapter 5. 5-9, 5-9.
How do I go to the chapter 5? Go
And
here?
yeah, go there again.
Oh.
And then go to chapter 5.
I think we're at the beginning of 5, right?
We read a few of them because they had no purpose. 5-9, we are in 5-9.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's see if I can do it by heart. Narayanam namaskrityam navam chaivam narotamam sarasvatim vyasam tato jaya mudirayet.
Very
We
nice.
offer our base. I think I missed a word though. We offer our obeisances to the goddess of learning and Srila Vyasadeva and somebody else, Nara Narayan Rishi.
Yes, the names are there. Goddess Sarasvati, Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, and Sarasvati.
Okay, you have to find out which verse that is.
We will for tomorrow. I don't have it. So.
All right, reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, Verse 9 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yata dharma dayascharta muni varyanukirtita natata vasudevasya mahima hyanuvarnita. Translation. Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Purport. The prompt diagnosis of Sri Narada is at once declared. The root cause of the despondency of Vyasadeva was his deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. He has certainly, as a matter of course, given descriptions of the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, but not as many as given to religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. These four items are by far inferior to engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. Sri Vyasadeva, as the authorized scholar, knew very well this difference, and still, instead of giving more importance to the better type of engagement, namely devotional service to the Lord, he had more or less improperly used his valuable time and thus he was despondent. From this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased substantially without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is clearly mentioned. After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called the stage of self-realization, or the Brahma-Bhuta stage. After attainment of this Brahma-Bhuta stage, one is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world. And passing this stage of equanimity, one is fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the instruction of the personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of the Brahma Bhuta stage, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Narada recommended to Vyasadeva that he, Vyasadeva, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency.
Haribol. Acá tenemos el secreto. La glorificación de Krishna. Es un 1, 2, 4, el Narayana Namaskritya.
Oh, let me write it down. No, dos, cuatro. Okay. Next.
Yes.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Purport. Crows and swans are not birds of the same feather because of their different mental attitudes. The fruitive workers or passionate men are compared to crows, whereas the all-perfect saintly persons are compared to the swans. The crows take pleasure in a place where garbage is thrown out, just as the passionate fruitive workers take pleasure in wine and women and places for gross sense pleasure. The swans do not take pleasure in the place seen in the atmosphere of natural scenic beauty where there are transparent reservoirs of water, nicely decorated with stems of lotus flowers in variegated colors of natural beauty. That is the difference between the two classes of birds. Nature has influenced different species of life with different mentalities, and it is not possible to bring them up into the same rank and file. Similarly, there are different kinds of literature for different types of men of different mentality. Mostly, the market literatures which attract men of the crow's categories are literatures containing refused remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle mind. They are full of subject matter described in decorative language, full of mundane smiles and metaphorical arrangements. Yet with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered a decoration of a dead body. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literatures, which are the sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. These literatures in the modes of passion and ignorance are distributed like different labels, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of the human being, and thus the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. Such spiritually advanced men are called manasa, also because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. This completely forbids fruitive activities for gross bodily sense satisfaction or subtle speculation of the material egoistic mind. Social literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in the material advancement of sense pleasure are all dolls of the material energy. They take pleasure in a place where rejected subject matters are thrown. According to Swami Sridhar, this is the pleasure of the prostitute hunters. But literatures which describe the glories of the Lord are enjoyed by the Paramahamsas who have grasped the essence of human activities.
Wow. What a nice example about the swans, no?
Yeah, except for I understand about the crows, but they're also pretty smart and they bring you gifts, so there's some.
No, I mean, I understand, but I mean, it's just for 1 second when I was reading, at least in my mind, I visualized the swan's atmosphere. I
Mm.
didn't visualize the cross because I think I know that one too well. I visualize the swans, and they're majestic and they're really in beautiful places. You don't see them. That's why they're so majestic. You don't see them everywhere. And they're surrounded literally by amazing lakes and waters and flowers and so on and so forth. So that picture in my mind was like, whoa, I mean, I don't know, for some reason that analogy made me feel like, I am in the crow category and don't even realize it, and I like it. It's not that, but I'm just saying that the other one for sure brought me to this other level of awe and magic and beauty, and I have crows here all the time around my house. It's full of crows, and they're okay. I mean, I don't like them too much, where too many and then scream too much, but they're just, they are there. And so I know that world very well. And so that for me it's not that dark in one sense, not I don't see it, unfortunately, I would say, but when he described the swan, it's like, whoa, one of those things you will like to experience more often, So we are here reading the Bhagavatam, trying to experience the swan-like nature, and then, we cannot. So imagine that you are hiking and somebody is ahead of you and they go on the top of the mountain. And then when they get to the top of the mountain, you see this majestic, view, From the bottom of the mountain, you can see the majestic view. And so, and they're telling you, this is incredible, amazing. But maybe in the bottom part of the mountain, it's still beautiful. There is tree, there is flowers, there is, amazing path, there is different kind of, nature creatures and so on and so forth. So you can enjoy the path. And they say, but yeah, this is great. But if you go up here, you see this other dimension that you don't even imagine, you know. And it happened to me once when I went to see the snow on the mountain. Here it doesn't snow so much, but there was once snow in Santa Barbara. So I wanted to see the snow on the mountain. So I went in my car by myself and I just drove to find the snow, you know. I didn't know. I follow cars that have snow on top of their car, whatever. And I made it to a place that was really gorgeous, and you could see the ocean and you can see the snow, you know. But, you know, I'm very curious. So everybody was there. They were taking pictures, but I drove more. For some reason, I drove more because the road keep going. And when I drove more, I saw this valley and more mountains, and it was 10 times more beautiful than the previous one. We have 180 degrees. It was like the ocean in one side and the valley and the mountains and the snow. It was really majestic. And I was really thinking, you know, when I drove back, how do I tell the people that up there is more, you know, and will they believe me, and why they will go there? You know, they have to take my word for it, you know. So if you are in one place, which is, it seems nice and beautiful and so on and so forth, it's harder to understand another dimension, which we don't have experience, we haven't seen, you know. So that's why I feel when I read today this verse about the swan, you know, that brought me my picture of my, you know, of my, you know, 380 majestic place, where the previous one was one side majestic, but the other one was like, you know, the mountain was next to you and the snow was there, you know, it was nothing like, you know. So anyway, so I think it's Prabhupada's trying, like if you look with that view, with that mentality of somebody seeing something they have not seen, and they're trying to access it to us, they try to give it to us, and in some way try to awaken, you know, because we're very sleepy. If you don't scream sometime, you won't be able to wake it, you know. And it's up to us to understand the mood of the person, you know. Like literally, when I went down, everybody was there, because as soon as you come, you see people that are taking pictures, so everybody stopped there. So I was thinking, you know, how do I tell them, you know? Why will they believe me? You know, they may think my intentions are weird. They may think, you know, you know, like I'm lying. They may think so many things about me. And so I didn't tell one person to go up there. You know? And it wasn't much. It wasn't that much more. It was like, you know, only like maybe 100 meters more or something like that. It wasn't like too far away. And they could have experienced much beautiful view. So I think if we understand Prabhupada's mood and emotion, I think it is understandable. It's a little harsh, I will say, when you read this, because this is our regular life. This is what we know. This is what we enjoy. This is what we perceive to be the best, you know. And so I think that I understand Prabhupada's. I'm here also with the crows, dancing salsa and going to places like that. You know, so, but I like the analogy. That's what I want to say.
Is it possible to go up and down the hill?
Well, that's what. Yes. There's a station bhakti. There's a station bhakti which is called oscillation, you know, and the oscillation part, you go back and forth, and then one become nista, which is steady, and then one become a higher taste. We are not even at that stage. Now we have what's called shraddha. We have faith, and then we are in the oscillation part. And we can be in the isolation part for many lives.
What did you say? Isolation?
Oscillation se llama.
Oscillation? Oh.
Oscillation, yes, when you go to one side to the next.
Oh.
Oscillation. We're in the oscillation place. Yes. You can go there as long as you want. Krishna is not pushing us. Krishna is not forcing us. Here, Prabhupada is trying to inspire us, which is a different word, you know. Sometimes the devotees, when they speak in these classes, like, no, you know, and they're like with a finger, you know, like that. And that's not Prabhupada's mood, you know. We see here a written word. We don't see Prabhupada's tone of voice. But if you hear Prabhupada's tone of voice, in many cases, Prabhupada is very kind and is trying to say, hey, there is something better in here. But we are for sure in the oscillation part, you know. We are one day very devoted, the next day we are very Maya, we are very devoted, we are very Maya, you know, we're like in the oscillation, but it's part of the process. It's not something wrong. It's like you have to go through the oscillation part until one day, for mercy of Krishna, for enough oscillation, the oscillations start becoming less, you know. And then you become more steady. And then when you become steady, then you make more progress because all the anarthas start falling off. And then you become nista, very focused, very fixed, and then you start getting a higher taste. And then from the higher taste, you start going, and eventually you come to prema, to love for Krishna. It's not like, from nothing you go all the top. You have to go to the process. So we have the process. It's good to know that we're in the oscillation process, because that's when I read, they have the Kripa tree, beautiful. And I every time that when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm here. Where's the Shraddha? Shraddha is faith. Faith to start chanting, faith to do a morning program, faith to read the Bhagavatam, faith to, have a spiritual master. That's faith. And then you get to the oscillation part. And then you become nista, you become fixed. And then the anarthas start falling off. And then you start develop a higher taste, and then the higher qualities start developing. And then, you start advancing that level, So yeah, we can be here as long as we want.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Purport. It is a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best, even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from a stalk of poison, should accept gold even from a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical considerations for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change, and as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, the people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend, China, has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God-fearing, pure-hearted, and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries of China and India over land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is not due to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good, as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of modern politicians and leaders of the world. If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving God consciousness of the people in general and re-spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of society will still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. When there is a fire in the house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who may be foreigners and yet, without knowing the language of the victims of the fire, express themselves. And the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or a nation on slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali, or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature, yet it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is a natural instinct, but because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy, but we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults, for it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter.
This is very nice, very nice. There's so much to speak in here, but we don't have much time. But well, first of all, Prabhupada is saying the faults, talking about himself, because he is doing the Bhagavatam and he feels like he's not qualified, you know? Not like us, we always think we're qualified for everything. Prabhupada is saying that he's not qualified, even though he transformed. So first thing of all, and you see here the mood I was talking 1 second ago, you know? The mood is like we are sick and we need to eat the sugar to taste the sugar, which tastes bitter at the beginning because we're sick. And so we don't want the sugar because it's not sugar for us, it's bitter. And we don't want bitter, you know, it's natural. But the sugar is the only thing when you eat enough of the sugar, eventually the jaundice goes away and then you taste the sugar again and you say, oh, you know, there it is. So that's the first thing Prabhupada is saying here. And the second thing is that he's saying that, you know, India has so much responsibility, you know, and how the leaders affects, you know, because there is no propaganda of God, you know. Imagine I'm talking about the propaganda of God that comes from Bhaktas. Doesn't matter what religion they come from, you know, but they're bhaktas, they're lover of the God, you know. There is a song that I listen all the time. I send it to you if you want. And it's from a Christian, and they call when God, it's in Spanish, so they say, Cuando Dios te hizo a ti. No, when God made you, you know, was thinking of himself. And the song is so beautiful. And I listen to songs from Arabic, glorification of God, and they're really with this love, and the lyrics are amazing. So those are bhaktas, and they're bhaktas in every tradition. If we will be more embedded with this love and devotion for God in many languages and many traditions, instead of the propaganda for war. Look at the news. I look at the news once a week, just once a day, just to have an idea what's going on in the world. And they're really like, it's like blood squeezing, dirt and killing and dying and war and famine and, miseries, and all four miseries are there. That's the only thing they talk about. Even
And
though
also, like in here, Prabhupada says how important the leaders are for this for the society, and you could completely see that. Like, I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Russia was better off under Gorbachev than Putin, like it really depends on the leader.
yeah, for sure. And not now in India, the Modi is there, which is very devoted to Ram and to Krishna, and very, very loving to Srila Prabhupada. He has a whole video talking about how Prabhupada is the son of Bharat. So it's very amazing. And he went, like I said, to Dwarka and the bottom of the ocean with the things just to give obeisances to the city of Dwarka. So he made the whole
Wow.
city of Ayodhya as a reestablished Ramachandra's temple in Ayodhya. He made the airport international with all the pastime of Ramachandra. And I was reading, because the news say that Modi they're trying to make politics, so say Modi doesn't protect the Muslims and so on and so forth. So how many millions of people are in India? Do you know?
A lot.
400 millions of people. 400 million.
Million?
Yes, 400 millions. Yes, 400 millions. And there is 13 millions of Muslims. So 413. So imagine it, 400, even $400 and $13, 413. So that's the proportion of Muslims to Hindus, And I'm not saying that we should not take, but the media makes it such a way, they make you look, he's discriminating this amount of people, but literally they're not. I mean, we shouldn't discriminate. He doesn't discriminate. And there is a lady who protect that, but the media likes to create quarrel, so they start speaking this nonsense, but I think Modi has a good chance to win, maybe not. The election now is going on, and he is very love-centered, love, God-focused, and I think that may be a change, because it's such a big population, and there is so many devotees in India already, and so many Hindus reading Bhagavatam, speaking the Bhagavatam, spreading the Bhagavatam, that we may have a chance. And I think all of this started by Srila Prabhupada. Well, before Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, before that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so on and so forth. But I think this is, we see, because really, if you were, I put the music, like I say, I have these religious songs from different traditions, and every now and then I put in my house all the music, because I love their devotion. And the videos are gorgeous, and they're like, paradise, like, ocean views, and they're in desert parts and whatever. And the love and the devotion is so amazing that it's inspiring to me, And so imagine we are more of that everywhere, we have more opportunities to get ourselves involved in the love for God. From doesn't matter with tradition, if it's love for God, it's going to inspire us to love God, And so anyway, the Prabhupada is very, very nice. This verse is very nice, and very nice explanation. And on top of that, he put himself on the bottom of the line, saying that he's doing it perfectly, but, he's not speaking the language properly, but, he is, the intention again is what is taken. And that's why so many devotees are going back to Krishna already. The devotees are already so purified. Anyway, thank you for reading, Marisha. And Rock is so beautiful how he sings, no?
Yeah, very nice. Acapello.
Yeah, he will come every Friday, so we get to hear him.
Very
And then
nice.
I come every Saturday. I thought it was Saturday today, but it's Friday.
Well, didn't you say Nakula was coming on Saturdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nakula comes
Oh,
Saturday.
I'm gonna probably be in my car again because I
Okay.
work this
I
weekend.
read tomorrow, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for reading today. Let us offer our respectful obeisance to all devotees, Vaishnavas of the Lord. They are like a desire trees, able to fulfill everyone's desires, and full of compassion for the conditioned souls.
Jai Vanchakapalabhyas Chakras Dubhyo Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I'm gonna
Thank
go oscillate.
Yes.